All right, welcome to video 5, part 5 of 5 for Unit 3 Population Notes, the lecture. We're going to get right into it. The topic for this final video is demographic transition. If you've taken AP Human, you already probably learned about this. Hopefully there's not too much that's different when we talk about the two different classes. But the demographic transition is just going to refer to the transition of high to lower birth and death rates in a country or a region as development occurs and that country moves from pre-industrial to an industrialized economic system. Now, there are different models that are used. We're going to be using, for this class, the 4-stage demographic transition model. So just remember that we only have 4 straight stages for this course. So let's jump right into it. The first stage is the pre-industrial stage. This is where we have populations that grow very slowly because they have a high birth rate, but they also have a high infant mortality rate and a high death rate. The population, for the most part, does not increase very rapidly because of these factors. After the pre-industrial, we have the transitional, not the industrial yet. The transitional is where a population will grow rapidly because birth rates are still high, but death rates start to drop because of improved food production and health. So we can see that the growth rate goes from very low in pre-industrial to fairly high right in the middle of transitional. And we will start to decrease as we get closer to our industrial stage. Stage 3 is the industrial, where we start seeing a slowing in the growth rate because birth and death rates start to drop. And that's because of improved food, production, health, and education. As education goes up, we usually see a decrease in population growth rates. The final stage is post-industrial. This is the less, it's a little bit harder to see the direct factors, but the population growth typically levels off and starts to decline because birth rates begin to equal and fall below death rates. And so the population of that community is going to start to decline. We see many countries now entering a post-industrial stage, including the United States. We are near more of the beginning phases of post-industrial. So, stage 1 is pre-industrial. Remember, this is just slow population growth. It's a very unstable population. So, the population itself is not very stable. You don't see a stabilized age structure diagram. Transitional becomes a little different. Transitional is where you have rapid population growth because of the infant mortality rate decreasing, better food production, better health standards, and so you start to see younger people living longer. The industrial is more of a slowing population growth. Remember, this is similar to what the United States looks like right now. We're towards the end of industrial and into the beginning of pre-industrial or post-industrial. It's a very stable population. So you can see from the age structure diagram that the population is stable. It's not growing rapidly and it's not declining. And then when we look at post-industrial, we're usually looking at a stable population that starts but declines because birth rates begin to equalize and fall. And so remember, this is the graph, I think, for Japan. Japan is currently entering or going through the post-industrial demographic transition stage. So this is just another diagram to kind of show you the birth rate versus death rate. The death rate falls before the birth rate because as we enter stage 2, we have high birth rates, but the death rate lowers, causing the population to rise. As we enter into the end, because the birth rate is starting to fall below the death rate, we will start to see a population stabilizing and then decreasing. And down on the very bottom, you can see the different age structure diagrams. In stage 1, the life expectancy is much lower, and that's why you can actually see that the life expectancy is going up in each of these stages slightly. So all 4 stages are shown here. Now, 5 different countries are shown on this graph to show you the demographic transition. Germany, Sweden, Chile, Mauritius, I don't know how to pronounce that one, and China. So you can actually see Germany went through their industrial transition before many of these other countries. China we can actually watch as their birth rate declined, but rose again, but the death rate declined. Their total population has increased over and over. Now, all five of these countries are experiencing different transition stages at different times, because not every country in the world has gone through the demographic transition at the same time. So when we talk about developed and developing countries, what's really important for us to understand when we talk about what a developed country is and what a developing country is, we typically characterize higher infant mortality and more children in the workforce in developing countries than we do with developed countries. A developed country usually has low infant mortality and less children in the workforce. And on this map, you can actually see the countries that are in blue are considered to be developed. The countries that are in gray are considered to be developing. And then Antarctica, because no one lives there. So that is the end of part 5. That's also the end of all of Unit 3. If you have any questions, please ask. Send me an email, remind text, ask in class, whatever you need, or rewatch the videos. Thanks again for watching.